Welcome to Botter's News Podcast. This podcast is all about staying ahead of the curve through the implementation of personalized one-on-one conversations with your audience. We focus on designing personas, the conversations they are having, and the technology that is enabling the dialogue. Here are your hosts, Hans and Jerome.
Well, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning in again. First of all, a happy new year, happy 2020, happy botting in this year. So hopefully you guys had a good vacation. We continue to work with crunching out news episodes. Today, episode 4, and a quick rundown. First, Jerome was able to join as well, so we have a very nice outline for this podcast. So what are we going to do today? So the first one is we will share this on a regular basis, some research that we have digged up. So we will talk about that. Another thing is we get a lot of requests from people that have a bot and that we need to look at those. So that's really cool. So we have a really cool bot that we have reviewed, Jerome and I. So that's really cool. So stay tuned until the end because we have some very nice feature related to that and to service you. Then we will cover a question of that we came across a lot. This episode is going to be about e-commerce, and Jerome and I both like a lot around quotes, cool quotes. So Jerome found one for this week to end this week and to go into the weekend real nicely. So with further ado, let's start with the stuff. And one quick note. Of course, as you guys, if you're here for the first time, please listen to the other episodes. They're also nice with the 2020 predictions and more of that and the pitfalls. On the other end, of course, as probably some of you already know and you already went through, we have a great mini course on the pitfalls, on the bot implementation formula, how you successfully implement. So that's in the show notes, the URL, and also it's botimplementation.com/BMC. So that's our first start. So if you want to go there, then please do so. Now, Jerome, I will start off with the research. Is that okay?
Go for it.
All right, cool. So what was very interesting is that came across this site via voicebot.ai, so very nice. And there they posted some research from Microsoft, from Cortana, where they published something of a very interesting visual. So if you are interested in looking at that visual after the podcast, the link to the episode is in the show notes. So it's botimplementation.com/4. So just a 4. And then you will arrive here and then you can see it. But they published a very interesting image where from a conversation standpoint, Jerome, you might be very interested. But the thing is, as I read it, so please let me know, but is that they basically are intending to take all the information from all different sources, as the visual shows, from phone and Twitter and Skype and from Teams and WhatsApp. Very interesting that Microsoft puts WhatsApp in there, but just funny. And the thing is that they basically want to gather everything together and have a walking lady there that says, what does my boss want? And then it seems that the patent that they submitted is it takes basically everything out of the sources and probably Cortana knows who her boss is, I assume, and then they will get all the information from all these different resources. That's how I read it, and as they stated in the statement, it's not only email and text, but also, of course, voicemails. I can imagine, or something. I don't know. But how are you looking at this stuff?
It's really a major move forward. I mean, nothing is there yet. They're still working on it and so on. So it's purely the patent which they've submitted here. But in all honesty, I mean, when you're going this direction, you're basically moving more and more towards a direction whereby the bot itself is becoming more and more human in its behavior. When you're talking to them, it's much more human engagement that you're going to have, because effectively you can have whichever long sentence you have, but the bot will take out the real context out of that. So that you're really starting to talk about understanding what a context means, understanding really what a sentence means when somebody is mentioning this. And this is really a major move forward. if they're able to get this going live. To be very
Yeah, I
honest.
think it's very
Because
cool. I think
you
it's
have
very
your
cool.
personal assistant on your shoulder.
Right. And over all these different all these different channels, apps and stuff. So yeah, it's going to be challenging, but very interesting. I think it's more, of course, guys, in the voice bot stuff. So of course we cover a lot about bots as well, voice bots, chat bots, text bots. But so moving on to the next one, which is it's as stated also on Business Insider, it's a rare move because Apple, Amazon, and Google, they announced a partnership. So are we then having the Echo and the Home and the HomePod joined together into one stuff? Well, that's not the case, but at least they have decided to come up with a joint technology standard for voice-enabled devices in your home. So you see that this growth, and you shared with me also this afternoon something, Jerome, about the insights that voice-enabled smart devices are definitely going to gain traction. And yeah, you don't want to have an Apple HomePod and an Echo or a Google Home in your home. You have to have all three of them, and then basically go and use devices differently. That's not a good thing. So that's not going to work. So they're going to really focus on working together on one standard, like I hope is going to be also with texting, like this whole RCS SMS expansion of a standard where we can then have chatbots on your phone, like with SMS. So it's really an interesting thing here. Yeah,
it's a big move, honestly. I mean, also it goes away a little bit from the situation you currently have, where Apple has its own ecosystem and everybody has their own ecosystem effectively, and now it's more or less becoming interdependent. And I mean, from a flexibility perspective, from a consumer perspective, this is huge. Because you're going to have one standard. It doesn't matter what device you want, but at least it can interact with the relevant items.
Yeah, and especially when you have your blinds or the lines being switched on, then hopefully you can do that with all these three devices, which are now market share leader, or at least have a lot of market share. And you don't have to have one item of moving your blinds up and down with only the Google Home, and you have to call Alexa to do something when you do something else. So great.
And if with the standard these guys are setting, everybody will need to follow anyway.
Right.
So that will very quickly come.
At least with the devices that you're going to connect in your home, and all the intents and the bots that you're going to have. Yeah. It's cool. So, all right. So those are those two items. We will definitely come up next week also with some more research that we come up that might be of interest. Next topic on the agenda is that we get a lot of requests, as mentioned, regarding reviewing of the bots, and we thought it was really a good one to take into account and to pick up. And we're going to use in this case for the first time the Levis chatbot, which lives on the website, and we're going to review that with taking our, of course, bot implementation formula as a basis. So I will kick this off with regarding the why, which we call the foundation of your bot implementation, is looking at, okay, for whom, and where does it take place, and where in the process, and what's the business goal, and then Jerome will dive into the components and more of the what and the personas and the conversation. So having said that, let's first have a look at this Levi's bot. I came across it because I wanted to go on the website and search for the nearest store for buying jeans for my little son, and I wanted to find out if they have jeans for children. Now, so that's why I came on the website and suddenly saw a bot. So the thing is,
so your interest was piqued.
My interest was piqued. Yeah, you got that right. Yeah. Always. Yeah. I'm browsing, as you, of course, a lot of times with the stuff, and it's like, hey, what's this bubble again, right? What are they gonna persuade me? And I'm eager then to have a look if they can help me find the nearest store. So that was my intent. Right. So the thing was, it was only on mobile, because later on when I was at home, and you tried it as well, Jerome, right? It didn't work.
I couldn't find it.
Right. Okay.
But honestly, it's very country specific, apparently.
Yeah, we think. Yeah, apparently. Of course, you can do that on IP address, and that we all know. But for sure, in the Netherlands and in Belgium, it both worked. As you are in Switzerland, that was a big bummer. You never have seen
I
it.
know. I know.
Right. Yeah.
We
These
don't
Swiss
want it in
guys.
the mountains.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't work. So now the thing is, it only lives on mobile, and that's critical. And it's of course for the consumers that are there. It is not on desktop. At least it didn't pop up with me, even in Netherlands or in Belgium where I was. And looking at where in the journey, and that's a little bit different. It's not really for searching products, or it's of course Jerome will have a look at the conversations, but in the consumer journey, let's put it that way, it was more into searching and just informing. So it's a little bit unclear what exactly the business goal is, because I can search for a store as well just on the website. So it's the business goal. What it really helps me with, it definitely didn't take me sooner to the store, although that's a conversation they want us to have with the bot. So to me, to be honest, I was a little bit, at least from a perspective, I don't say it's bad or good, but at least it didn't help me a lot to find the nearest store and to find if there are children pants in that specific store in Belgium. So
the impression I had a little bit was it's like a solution for the sake of the tech.
Right. Yeah, we need a bot.
The tech is hot, so I need a bot. So let's do a bot. And okay, but what the hell are we going to put in there? And
I agree. I agree. Yeah.
So it doesn't seem that anybody looked at the benefits, really.
Right. Yeah. And the business goal behind the project, right? Why we should spend money. Yeah. So that's a little bit about the why. So not so much. Let's move on to the formula. That's of course the why is in the formula, the foundation. And now we will cover a little bit more about the what, and those are the components. And we have identified, of course, the personas, and that means the personas like the consumer, what I already mentioned, but also the bot persona. So Jerome, you are going to talk about that, right? Mm-hmm. And the conversations that you can have with the bot, and well, I can find a lot about technology, but we'll leave it at that. So let's move on to the next one, on where we will start. So please kick it off, and if there's something to shout, I will say so.
When we look at the personas, so what they're starting with is, so the name of the bot is Indigo. So they're very clear in terms of defining what it is, that it is a chatbot, so that you're engaging and that you understand who you're engaging with effectively. Very simple. The purpose is indicated as well, is get started, ask me anything, and select any of the options below. The problem is a little bit where you go from there then, because then they start immediately, if you want to start over again, the standard routine which you have in any bot, just type in main menu. Now, because we're a little bit freaky in this aspect as well, we started playing with the various items that you could put in, and honestly, immediately you have a crash coming on as well. So what they have done very nicely though is they've really clearly defined a like kind of persona page, which is what is Indigo, what can it do, how can it help you on the various aspects and so on. So it's very proper, it's very nice on the background. So it's really about getting the information forward in terms of who you're communicating with and so on. Very corporate, very much in line with legal as well. But the main problem effectively I had was there's no emotion whatsoever. It is clearly indicated that it's a bot.
Yeah, that's cool. That's good. Yeah,
but it doesn't really bring me engagement.
Right. No, yeah, and I agree. It's of course indicating it's only via the menu. So what I was a little bit disappointed about is, and that's in this area, right, where you would start. You see the privacy policy, which I think is very nice. But normally you would expect something that they would present something and saying, hey, what do you want to do? There is some areas of that, and that's especially the stuff also in the main menu. That we see here, of course, right? And perhaps you could iterate that a little bit, and then we will go over these conversations that they have set up.
Yeah. So when you open the main menu, effectively what you're going to get is you get your customer service. So it's really your customer service link. Find the Levi's store, simple store locator that you have across the board. What's up at Levi's, a little bit of emotion, a little bit of brand story, which they're trying to bring forward. privacy policy, and a chatbot feedback. And the chatbot feedback, I think, is actually an interesting one. We'll get back to that later on. Now,
right, yeah. So first customer service, right? That was a little bit of a bummer.
So on the customer service, and with a lot of the aspects that we have in this bot is they haven't gone very far. They haven't put a lot of effort into it. This is not really an engagement platform. It is an immediate link straight to the website, to the standard customer service link, which is call us under the 08900.
Yeah, which kind of strange because I want a bot. I was thinking like, what's this? Then now you're forcing me to call. As we know, the research indicates that many people more and more want to text and chat and don't want to call. And then they send me with that button to call.
Immediately back to your call center, but even as well, you can do the live chat. So live chat fine as well.
Yeah, yeah.
But there the message was, sorry, we're currently not available. So, I mean, from a customer service perspective, then the question is, why make the effort?
Right. Yeah, this doesn't make sense. You expect then at least to are able, you start on a medium where you want to chat. That's why you click the bubble for a chatbot. And otherwise it would go on the website and just find a contact center, right? And then call them.
And a basic element, I mean, let's face it, if you look at the capabilities of a bot, the basic elements you can put in there is going back to the why, is really what are the main and the core questions, the core conversations that we're having when it comes to customer service. I mean, you can't tell me that this is not recorded at Levi's. I mean, the brand alone, it's a household name. And they must have a massive database in terms of what are the key questions coming in from a customer service platform.
Right.
And why not build this into your bot as well? Make a selection in the bot already, and you basically bypass a lot of the elements that a contact center should do anyway.
Right. So the next one is find the Levi's store. Yeah,
your favorite.
One second. I think I first had in the slides. You first the brand stories.
Sorry. Yes, the brand stories.
My bad, but that's not.
This is the simple scroll window in terms of what are the stories ongoing, what does it mean to be a man today, those kind of things. Really, the corporate brand stories, the human interest stories, and the inspiration. And this creates a little bit of an emotion as well. But we're not going further on that.
Well, the thing what I found interesting is that sometimes it's pretty a challenge on getting the stuff translated. So you see here also in the example, the bot communicates in English. The topics, as it was in the Netherlands or in Belgium, is in Dutch. So it's not pretty consistent. That's fine, but at least the items are translated. So I think that's definitely a good thing.
The human interest items.
Yeah, so that's definitely some personalization, right?
Yes, exactly.
It's not really, it's more communication. They don't ask me anything on what topics I'm interested in. That would be a nice one, but it's not really on my interest. However, it was definitely a thing. Yeah, the next one is about the store locator. That's what I would, of course, was looking for.
Yeah.
And that was an interesting bummer. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what the parameters are that they've put behind it. But you can type in anything, and the main feedback that you're going to get back on everything is, I'm sorry, I'm not able to use that location, even if you indicate where you're located. So you have two buttons. Either you type it in yourself, your postal code, or you basically select, okay, locate me now on the standard feature which you have on any mobile device. But automatically
for me it was really a bummer because it was 2000 for Antwerp, and it was like, okay, I'm not there. I even typed in my former USA postal code 94108, and that also didn't work. So it was not a good experience.
I mean, it's easier to do on simple on Google, or is there a store located next to me not using this site than anything else? Because the frustration this is generated.
The location. Yeah, you trigger me. You can still do location. It's not very fun, but potentially there are capabilities like in Messenger that you have your GPS on, and you immediately can plot it on a map the nearest store. It's really cool. Then you have all your stores in the bot, and it immediately sends you there. But this is of course a web one, right? It starts on the web. It's not you don't have to subscribe or anything or whatever. That's the bot. We also skipped here. Normally when you go into Messenger, you definitely want to confirm everything. That's not the case here. But last but not
we're
least.
talking here about wholly owned stores as well. So the Levi's stores. And in that sense, they have a full database of where these stores are located. The turnover is not dramatic. So effectively, and you see that with all the other fashion brands as well. Most of them have the feature which you mentioned as well on their website is, I'm currently here, find me what the location is, what the nearest one, or at least that you can make a selection.
Right.
Build it in.
Right, cool. Hey, next one, which was
Chatbot feedback. So this is interesting. I mean, at least they're asking for how satisfied. So it clearly is a bit of a test in terms of what they're trying to do with it. Right. But it's a long journey that they still want to do, and then they leave everything open. So you were mentioning this goes to offsite, right? To another.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you are in a chatbot, which to provide these options as choices. We do that as well, right? In our course, we just indicate in the chatbot from 1 to 10, and you can put in the chatbot. You can put it in, but here it is redirected to a URL, to a server solution outside of Levi's domain. So yeah, well, I'm in a chatbot. You can easily program things in 2 minutes to basically program it and have the question there and let them answer, and not leave the bot, because you're leaving basically the bot. And of course it's on the website, the bot, but you don't have to do that. You immediately can have this indicated in the bot. So this is, as with the customer service contact, it's pretty strange that they jump from the bot. They allow you to sync in with the bot and you want to chat, and then they will go back to the old-fashioned website and you cannot do anything. That was
maybe this is part of the overall service agreement that they had with the supplier who set them up with the bot, in terms of testing the quality of the deliverable.
Right.
But in all honesty, it's still very, very vague, and you will not get a lot of feedback in it.
Yeah. Well, I always say, let's stay in the channel that you're in, right? And not move from the chatbot to the website, although the chatbot lives on the website, but let's stick it in there, right? Don't and immediately push it in and submit it, right? You don't have to submit with a web form, as you can see here, is you have to select it and then submit it. Well, with a chatbot, you click, for the people that are unfamiliar, you click neutral, and then the next message comes up and all the others disappear, right? You never have to submit. That's the good thing about a chatbot. Yeah. All right, next, some standard stuff, right? Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I don't know. For me, what is seriously lacking here is the engagement. You have a lifestyle brand. People are having difficulty with a medium which is fast growing and dramatically growing overall. They're going into your bot, they're making the effort to go into your bot, and effectively when they hit a bump, which is bound to happen anyway, there's no help whatsoever. The only thing is what we switched to live chat. So you're coming always back to the same elements, which is either web page or live chat. So for me, the big question mark here is, what is the purpose of the bot?
Yeah, but the thing is, what I tested also here, and what you did as well, is I put in test, just a random number, or I don't like you, or whatever. We just want to try to break the bot. But hello there, yeah, I'm there. That's what I know, right? But yeah, to then respond to got it. This seems like a little bit still the standard fallback scenario in a lot of bot platforms that they forgot to change. Right? Yep. Because there are a lot of fallback scenarios, fallback conversation, but at least when you say test, like, hey, sorry, they didn't learn me that to understand that. Sorry about that. You can go to the main menu, what I can do, and give them the options what they can do. And sorry that I can't yet, but we will track this and hopefully we will improve the bot. That's too long for a bot and too much text, but that's where you come in, Jerome. That's what I cannot do. But still, with this is not a fallback scenario, right? This is, and when you pick not helpful, it says okay or something. So that's not the purpose of this, right? And to be honest, we of course always train, and in the bot as well, people are going to test the bot out, everybody. Yep. So you have to do it well, because they expect when they can even type in jeans, like I could type in kids jeans, right? And then nothing happens. Then they say, hello there, right? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. All right. Yeah. And then this was the follow-up, right? That was in
the live chat.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Okay. Yeah. That was going to the website. So that was not a good thing. So yeah, overall, I don't know what kind of number are you providing this from 1 to 10? I'm definitely up to a 4 or 5. This is not very engaging. There's no personalization. They don't ask a lot. This can definitely be improved. This is not very helpful, I think, for people, and
No, I
not a
think
lot of business purpose.
the key point which they need to identify is not so much I want a bot because of the tech. They need to identify where a bot can help, in which of the conversations a bot can help. And
Right.
that's
Start with
really
the why,
going
right?
back to the journey, the basic journey.
The why with who is it for, where in the
Yes.
journey do you want to complete something. So
and with a brand as Levi's, where it's really a lifestyle type of brand, a fashion brand, it brings a certain communication and a certain way of communication with it as well. What
Sure.
you see here in terms of text, it's super corporate, honestly. I mean, this does not get me very excited. There's no humor. There's really no engagement whatsoever in here.
Yep. All right. So, ending this all, we have some very great news, I think, related to this stuff. We have set up a whole system because we score bots on a numerous amount of items, as you already heard, and we have standardized that. So if you're very interested, and if you have a bot and are interested to look at your health score, so your bot health score, we have the conversation health score in the mini course on how healthy are your conversations, but how healthy is your bot, right? So, and you can submit your bot at botimplementation.com/submit. So botimplementation.com/submit. Submit your bot. Timbo, our chatbot, with a name, with a face, but it is a bot, will help you, guide you to 2 or 3 questions. It is, right, Jeroen? It's not a lot. And we will then provide you the health score and give you feedback on that. And we will also politely ask if you're interested that your bot is covered and getting visibility in our audience, because that might be interesting as well. So that's quite, I think, a good offer for you, and we're very interested and very eager to look at your bot. And when there are a lot, there might be a delay.
Reviews, yeah.
Sorry?
It becomes one of the podcasts, basically. So
right.
It's,
if they agree, right? Because otherwise they don't.
Yes.
So guys,
now with the Levi's one, we've done it without
right.
Levi's giving us the blessing, but we couldn't help ourselves to basically go through the bot here. I mean,
well, let's be honest. Let's be honest. We also learned from our mistakes, so I think that's a good way to adjust.
Yes, that was
to be honest, we have made a lot of mistakes with the bots, and that's good to learn. So no problems there. So botimplementation.com/submit. Timbo will guide you through. When there are a lot, it will take some time. But we definitely will ask you first if we can cover your bot, if it's a great example. Now,
we'll simply ask the email, and we'll give them back the report, and then basically as well the question of do you want to go live and so on as well, and then timeline, more importantly, a timeline of when the podcast will be released, basically on the bot review.
Yeah. Well, on ending this one, we will definitely send this podcast into the feedback form. And let's see what happens. And guys, if we get feedback from Levi, of course, we will do that in the next or the other podcast that we come back with. And we refer to episode 4. So that's botimplementation.com/4 as the URL. All right, moving on to the next one. Audience questions. We get a lot of questions, and we will definitely have a great thing going on at the end of the podcast. So stay tuned related to this. But one question we got asked and are working on also with web shops. And the web shop owner is saying like, hey, how can I use a chatbot, right? So we will cover that. This is going to be the standard item. And the first thing that we, of course, do with following our own formula is why do you want to have a chatbot, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing that we...
it's still a fashion word and everybody wants it, but nobody knows why.
Right. So from a why perspective, just 2 scenarios, and we have more, but 2 scenarios. One thing which Jerome and I bump into is a lot of people, of course, visit the FAQ page related to shipping information, updating your order status, or how can you receive it, what would shipping cost, all that sort of stuff, what's the return policy, all that stuff that is on FAQ. If you see that a lot of people visit an FAQ, that's one business goal. That's not a good thing. but it happens. And if you see that they're staying a long time on the FAQ pages, then it might be, and you can investigate that, of course, that's really the business purpose and the business value that you need to look at. You hopefully can help them get a little bit earlier to the question that they have, or to the answer that the question that they want to ask. So that's the thing, for example, for an FAQ, to standardize the FAQ and remove the FAQ page, but then let the web chatbot pop up and help them with quickly clicking in a certain conversation, going to the right answer to the question. That way you can also see which questions, and that's really, of course, in our implementation methodology, in our formula as well, the how to implement this, that you also very well can measure how much they click on which topic, right? Mm-hmm. Because that's definitely a good thing to know to improve. So measure, when you measure, you can improve. We always say in the bot implementation formula. So so that's definitely a scenario that is happening. You want to iterate on the FAQ part, John?
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice tool as well. Is what you can do is basically set up a standard FAQ format for your bot. But in any major company, let's face it, you always have an exec coming up with a specific question of an issue that needs to be investigated and so on as well. And you can drive that. And the bot allows you for quick customer feedback on specific elements as well. So use that as much as possible. Be flexible in how you use it. Don't be, let's say, too corporate in the sense of everything needs to be signed off on every individual element and so on. But take that flexibility as well, because that will come across in the bot as well towards the audience.
Cool. Yeah, and the last one, or at least there are many other scenarios and conversations they can have with your consumer on your web shop. The other one that we want to cover is often abandoned cart. All right. Yeah. So there are many, what you also mentioned, Jerome, with email, right? You have a follow-up with email that you still have something in your cart, which is pretty standard with web shop software. However, if there is a web chatbot on the web, of course, when a person returns, you can start the engagement and start the conversation by doing so, and also reminding them that there is stuff in the cart. Immediately put in a link. Do you want to continue with this? And then put the link to the cart, which is kind of cool. On top, you can of course, when they, for example, which is a lot like Shopify is an integration with Messenger chatbot, with the Messenger platform. You can of course inform them about that the cart is there's still something in the cart about them on their Messenger app. Now, of course, there you have to be very, very careful with the rules that Facebook is implying, and that's about the 24-hour window. Of course, that's changing. So you cannot always do that immediately and spam them with, "Hey, your cart is still full. You didn't check out." So be careful with that. But of course, with many chat marketing platforms, as they call it now, like ManyChat, Chatfuel, and others, some you can also send SMSs and automatically emails to inform them about the cart is being full. That's of course very interesting to use besides the regular email, especially when you do Messenger and when they return to the site. So that's neat features, and we would advise people to look at first as a tangible next step. Look at the FAQ page, look at what they visit, look at what they do, and see there on how much time they spent, because there should be a business value in doing a chatbot, in reducing the time spent on an FAQ page, because that's not where you want your consumer to spend time. You want them to go shopping and put in their credit cards, basically. That's what the time they should spend on. Yeah. So anything you want to iterate on this one, Jerome?
Yeah, and I think the one key thing as well is always come back to the why, which is really what are the pain points that we're currently facing in a company. Make sure that the data is there, and on the basis of that, look for the solution. Yeah, and above all, and particularly in the conversation, and we've seen it a lot as well, it's make it personal. This is the reason why you have a chatbot. You have so much data about the clients with the email address and with all the engagement that they have on the various platforms. Use that data at least to create a personal bond with it. The more personal the interaction is, the more likely they're going to be coming back to you as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, before we end with the quote that Jerome has found, I want to give you a special offer that many people want to ask us questions. That's great. You can reach us, of course, via Timbo on our website. On the other thing is botimplementation.com/ask. So botimplementation.com/ask. That will also you can talk to Timbo if we're not around, but they will follow up, and you can indicate there what you want to ask us, and yeah, we can get you covered. Definitely, we will cover you. That we send you a response, and second, yeah, if it's a great question and we're not overloaded, we definitely will cover you as well in the next podcast. So like with the research, like with the bot health score review that we're going to do, you can ask us a question as well. And if you want to submit your bot, go to botimplementation.com/submit. Also in the show notes, you find the URL. Or if you want to ask us a question, please do so. Really funny, really great. We appreciate that. Go to botimplementation.com/ask. So ending our episode 4 in the new year, you got a great quote, Jerome.
Yeah, I couldn't leave this one out, honestly, in particular after looking at the Levi's one. The quote being, it takes 12 positive experiences to make up for one unresolved negative experience. I think everybody's heard this one. It's from Understanding Customers by Ruby Newell-Lechner. It's a fabulous quote because it really highlights that effectively bad experiences are being talked about much more heavier than positive experiences. So the requirement that you have in order to make up for the negative experiences are really not worth the effort. So when you build a bot, think about the various aspects, really start with the why. What do you want to do? What is the business purpose that you want to do? And then bring it forward. If you don't, you're just going to have a muddle. And to be very honest, I'm not sure how many people will want to come back to the bot from Levi's after they've gone through it and stumbled into, for instance, the Locator doesn't work. Yeah. Would you ever go back to the Locator? I wouldn't.
I wouldn't, I don't know, but it's a bummer, but it's true. So yeah, so when you start, definitely I iterate what Jerome is saying, please really carefully determine before the why, where in the conversation. Don't dive into the technology. That's our biggest pitfall that we hear. And because
keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Small, simple step will definitely lead to big changes. That's my honest belief. And but determine the right first small step that brings value to your consumers and to your customers. That's definitely definitely true. So
and a bot is not a website. It's not an email. It's a different way of communication. It's really one-on-one communication, one-on-one conversations, effectively. Yeah, let's face it. So use that, and give the opportunity as well to clients or customers or consumers to provide feedback, to have that interaction. Because there's nothing more annoying than a one-sided conversation.
Cool. Let's stop with that. So all the stuff is in the speaker notes, in the show notes. Sorry, not in the speaker notes, but in the show notes. And the good thing is we still, of course, available our mini course. So botimplementation.com/PMC. And you can do a free mini course, and it's free. That's true. Yeah. And the other thing is, if you really like our podcast, then we would very much appreciate your review. So also in the notes here in the episode notes, please find the link to our review page. Now there's only one capability on doing a review, and that's of course on iTunes. So botimplementation.com/review. So we'll put it all in there. Ask us a question, leave us a review, much appreciated, guys. And then the other thing, if you want your bot being scored by us, by Jerome, by me, hopefully you do it, Jerome, when there are many. Just joking, but then we're there and here for you. So tuning out, happy botting. Jerome, have a good weekend, and you all as well. And talk to you guys later.
All right, bye.